off the sidewalk and onto the streets. And that means get more people involved in this movement, because at the heart of it, it's the middle class. And I know many of you here have had much opportunity to be a part of that, the middle class. And somehow it's become a dirty name to people. People don't understand that you associate middle class with labor households. What is wrong with that? Somebody is trying to decide and determine what that should be. And I'm saying, I see it, I live it, I see it here in this room. And there are millions and millions of people who want to go back to that, to know that they have a fighting chance in this country. And we cannot afford to let that run through our hands, our fingers, and let it fall. That's why the Department of Labor has worked so hard right now to make sure that we beef up all of our enforcement divisions. And yeah, and I'll say it, and just, I think, Mr. Trunkle, you said it, so did Mr. Sweeney 2 years ago, the sheriff is back in town. And what that means is that the sheriff is now overseeing and actually enforcing all our labor laws. OSHA, as an example, making sure that we can cut back on prevention of fatalities and injuries, and putting forward regulations that deal with cranes and derricks and help to promote PLAs and Davis-Bacon, some of the very precepts of what we know puts people in the middle class. And those are things that we're fighting for. But we can't do them alone. We need your help. We have a lot of programs that the department administers as well, in addition to our OSHA and wage and hour, where we're also fighting for many of you in the construction field and other areas that are right now faced with employers that would, unscrupulous employers that would like to misclassify employees and rob this country of more wealth because they don't pay taxes. They don't provide workers' comp or disability or provide the protections that other businesses are providing because they agree to play by the rules. There's too many that don't play by the rules, and we know them. They're even in our communities, and they are like vultures sometimes, hanging around knowing that they can prey on the vulnerable populations and many who are undocumented, and especially Latinos and Latinas, and that has to stop. We just put out our report, also the state of the Latino workforce, and you know, I'm going to be frank with you. It's not where it should be, but I'll tell you one thing: it would have been worse. It would have been worse had it not been for Barack Obama being president, because I wouldn't have had the ability to go forward with a lot of the things that you now see happening. Major enforcement in the field now, people who are responsive to our community. We actually have active campaigns to help people in their languages, primarily in this case, like this room, Latinos que hablan español, who need to know what their rights are. That's what we have changed. We've changed that paradigm, but we've done more than that. We've helped also to make sure that people get skilled up in new professions, in renewable energy, green energy, solar power. I know a lot of construction folks are out of work, but believe me not, or believe me if you want, this whole crisis is going on in the Middle East and resources. You know, the president ran on that whole premise that we have to change that diagram and start looking at making major investments. And yeah, maybe it's still going to be in coal. Maybe it's still going to be in nuclear power. Maybe it's also going to include more robust renewable energy, where many of our people can actually take advantage of that. But we have to have people trained in those industries. And that's why we spent well over $4 billion just on training. And if you didn't know that, you need to know that. You know why? Because somebody right now wants to take that away. They want to take away the programs, the job training programs that we provided to unemployed workers who deserve this, even through our TAA funding, trade adjustment assistance. That isn't welfare. That's to help retrain our workforce because people lost their jobs overseas or because there was lack of investment to increase what businesses were doing now. That's something that we still have to fight for. But we need to do more. There's more that we have to do. And I know you all are the right people to talk to. So I would just say our work isn't done. Don't let these folks convince the public out there that somehow unions are the problem, because we're not. And I say that because I come from a union household family. My father was a shop steward, teamster. My mother was a United Rubber worker. My brothers were carpenters, and a sister SEIU. So I can tell you, it lived through my family. But one thing we can't forget, unions provide more ability for people to achieve the middle class. And that's a profound, premise for everyone to understand historically. That's why America is so great. That's why so many people want to come to this country. That's why people know that even though you come from no means, you can be successful. You can have a part of the middle class. And that's what the president was able to achieve, and that's what I have been able to achieve, and millions of people of disadvantaged backgrounds have been able to achieve. So don't forget it. And let's keep fighting, let's keep moving forward. And remember, the work is just starting. The work is just starting. Today, the audacity that some people want to pull the plug and say, enough, no more federal government. Do you realize what impact that's going to have on veterans, on our elderly, on people who are waiting for their UI benefit, on people who file their tax returns? Huh? I mean, can you imagine? And then federal employees that work all across our country, that we're going to see an increase now in unemployment. So who's helping to build jobs, by the way? Guess who said they were trying to help make jobs all of a sudden? And then all of a sudden you're going to see a ramping up of maybe 1,750,000 people lose their jobs. And that will have an impact in the Latino community that will continue to drive our community down, because that's where the impact comes the first. People won't spend money in our communities, and that's a harsh reality. And we have to turn that around. So keep up the good work. Lakla, I appreciate everything that you've done for us, this administration, and I hope to continue to work to serve as your Secretary of Labor. So thank you for this award.
Someone's getting a little shaky.
Yeah, I know. Okay, a little difícil.
Madam Secretary. Madam Secretary, I have a piece of art here. Edgar Endes is here, professor and artist. Where is he? Stand up, please. This is part of his work, and this is the award we do today. On behalf of LACLA Executive Board and all the members of LACLA, thank you very much, Madam Secretary.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Get it right there. Oh,
Tilt it way down. So we don't get reflected.
You got it.
Thank you.
More like that. Fantastic. Last one. One more smile.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Gracias. Okay. We'll grab it or put it, put it.
Here's another round of applause for Madam Secretary. Another round of applause for the Madam Secretary.